Still looks crazy. Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Top 4. Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dun,
1,
dun,
2,
dun.
3.
With
and
me
4.
today are some of my favorite people on the planet who also happen to know that I love the number 4. Josh, how you doing? And what's your favorite number?
9. I'm good.
900? Just 9.
Just 9.
Just German for no. Got it.
Yeah, 9.
Tommy,
This is
how you
exactly
doing?
why.
And what's your favorite number?
I don't really have a favorite number.
You suck.
I
Mikey,
can
how
just
you doing?
yell
What's your
9
favorite
at
number?
people.
0.
9! See?
No, it's 0.
0 is a very interesting number in a lot of ways, but that's not what we're talking about because we're talking about heroes today. Explicitly, we're talking about heroes written by one of our favorite writers. He wrote Wonder Twins. He wrote Second Coming. He wrote The Flintstones. He wrote so many good things, and I can't remember his name. God damn it, I was vamping. Josh, who's
We're doing top 4 comics written by Mark Russell.
Right. He did a lot of great comics. I named a couple of them. But what are our favorites? And there's so many. Mark Russell's, we often call him a friend of the podcast. Terrific writer. He's done so much good. We don't call Mark Russell a friend of the podcast?
Yeah, we call him
All
the
of
fifth
a friend of the
Longbox
podcast.
guy.
He
Yeah,
is
the
a
fifth
friend of the
Longbox guy.
podcast.
Yeah,
He's actually been on the podcast, right?
Several times.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
A bunch of them.
Eisner Award-winning comic book writer Mark
That's
Russell.
right.
And
All right, so-
Eisner Award-nominated comic book writer Mark Russell.
Bingo.
We'll take all that credit.
Take all that credit. Well, I mean, we did help
That's
him on his
Mark Russell in
career.
a comic book.
He did elevate
Right
him.
there.
Next level.
So who wants to go first
That's
on
not Mark
favorite
Russell.
Mark Russell comic books?
LT does.
I'll go first. I loved the Flintstones.
Drink.
We've
Right.
talked about the Flintstones endlessly.
But not enough somehow.
But not
Endlessly,
enough. Never
still
enough.
not enough.
I mean, there's just so much good, and it was probably one of my first Mark Russell comics I've ever read. But, just from everything from how they treat PTSD, how he treats PTSD in that comic, to religion, to all the social commentary in the Flintstones is just amazing.
Oh, absolutely. He goes into so much detail how Earth is actually a game preserve for the Great Gazoos people. What marriage is and
Yeah.
what marriage might be to Stone Age people.
And maybe this monogamy thing will catch on, or maybe
Yeah.
it won't.
A lot of people thought that Fred and Wilma's marriage was unnatural because you should just go to the sex cave like your grandparents did.
Yeah.
It was just really interesting and really depth. He doesn't leave a lot of stuff out when it comes to building this world in a very short amount of time. Like, we get a really good idea of how this world works without him going on forever like an Asimov or a Tolkien. One of my favorite little bits was there's a one-liner joke that Mike told me that made me read the comic book. Do you remember what the one-liner joke is, Mike?
No,
I think
don't.
I do.
What is it, Tommy?
Why does Fred dress in a tie?
Why? Someone asked Fred Flintstone, why are you always wearing a tie? He goes, just for the job you want, not the job you have. How long have you been wearing that tie? 20 years. And he still didn't have the job he wanted. And it was just such a great little heavy stone of what it's like to be working class in America that I felt the weight of it myself. It was great. I have one that I know no one picked. If anyone picked this, I will eat my hat. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I picked up this comic book while we were in Pensacola, Pensacon. You guys all saw me read it from cover to cover because it was so good. It was The Lone Ranger, The Devil's Rope by Mark Russell. Didn't know it was a Mark Russell book until I got to the end of the damn thing. I love The Lone Ranger. This is one of those comic books where I just read 2 pages and I thought, all right, I was just looking through a bin of someone who gave us comic books to give away as a gift. Read 2 pages, read 2 more, read 4 more. I was in. Mark Russell takes the Lone Ranger and a lot about what was going on with Tonto and really puts it in a new and very interesting perspective. Lone Ranger, Devil's Rope, set in Texas while they were trying to cut up cattle country so that the rich could become richer and the poor would become poorer, and the Lone Ranger was having none of it.
Cool. That's a Dynamite comic, so
I believe that is a Dynamite comic.
spectacular artwork too.
Oh my gosh, just jumps right out at you. Who's going next? Mikey?
It's like a Sophie's choice for me because I love everything he does, but I will go with his latest opus, Traveling to Mars, which won Eisner Award for Best Ongoing Series this past year. It is an amazing story of a corporate greed combined with a man knowing that his life is going to end and reflecting on the choices that he made in life. It's kind of beautiful in a way.
Aren't all his books beautiful in a way?
It's true, but yeah, this makes me doubt some of my own life choices as I read it, which is always he always does that to me. I don't know how he does it, but I'm always like, oh.
I think one of the great things he does is he makes everything relatable to every reader on a different level. And I think that's part of his magic.
Yeah. Josh, what do you got?
I am going to go in a different direction. I've loved almost everything he's written. But one of the things that sort of pulled me in where it was unexpected was into the DC universe, which is not my favorite world to live in as a comic reader, but Space Age is really fantastic. And
you got me. Drink.
It actually pulled me into reading some other DC books, even like Son of Jor-El and some of the other DC properties that are even just tertiary related to Superman and the League. And it's just another take on how that world evolves and what that world looks like when it is more closely and realistically applied to our civilization, our politics, our science, our world. And once again, it's just a sublime interpretation of characters we've known for a long time.
And a complete Superman story in of itself. It's only
Absolutely.
3 issues.
Yep.
But if you pick up the graphic novel, you've got the whole story in there. And it goes kind of the history of Superman decade by decade. And it shows you how Superman changes over the years. It's like a love letter to Superman, I would say. And if you enjoyed that, Mark Russell is going to be he's going to have Batman Dark Age coming out, set in the same universe, kind of as Space Race, excuse me.
Tell me what's your next pick there, buddy.
Did we do a next pick? I thought we just had.
I thought we were just doing 4.
That's 4 altogether.
That's 4 altogether.
I got to put one. I got to put one special nomination.
Honorable mention.
Snagglepuss. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Snagglepuss was brilliant.
I really struggled with that one. I wanted to go with Lone Ranger just because I just read it and I just couldn't put it down, and I didn't know it was Mark Russell. That's how good it was, and without even knowing it. But Snagglepuss is genius on genius. Set in the McCarthy area, Snagglepuss is testifying, and he talks about how difficult it is to be Snagglepuss under this repressive time in American history. And it's so ridiculous, but so heartfelt. Like it. Why would why put so much great effort into Snagglepuss? Why build a great comic book on this character? And he does it, and he does it flawlessly, and it really is emotional. Yeah. And it didn't have to be. He could have, I got a Snagglepuss comic to write. Blah, blah, blah. Man, he took that and ran.
Yeah, won a GLAAD award for,
yeah, genius, fucking genius.
If you're just finding us, listeners, on YouTube, and you haven't listened to our podcast, and so you don't know, or you're not imminently familiar with comic books, we're talking about Mark Russell. Go just Google Mark Russell, and you'll see a list of books he has written, Start wherever you like, finish wherever you like,
Whatever you
but
like.
read it all.
We should do like
We've recommended 4 things, but seriously,
Right. We didn't talk about My Bad, Billionaire
Billionaire
Island,
Island, just
Not all
Second
robots.
Coming.
Second
Second
Coming.
Coming. I thought for
Second
sure
Not All Robots.
Tommy was going to
Just-
do Second Coming.
Yeah, not all robots. Jesus. Yeah,
Not all-
just
yeah.
Google him and just fucking read it.
You want a
Easy
harder
game.
job, Josh? Find a dud in the list.
Yeah, there isn't one. Anyway, that's us. We're the Longbox Guys, and this is top 4.
Thanks.
on YouTube.
Top 4.
Bye-bye.
Love you, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.